Oh, I think I'm live. Ha. Okay. Wait, it says setting it up. Okay. I am live. Hello, good morning, good early afternoon, everyone. It is Angie Atkinson, and I'm here for hello, A. McG. Welcome, 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 and thank you for becoming a new member. I appreciate you. So anyway, it is Friday, and I just thought I would pop in. I was originally going to be here with Lise, but she hurt herself today. So everybody keep her in your thoughts, and let that she does a little better. I think she's okay. She just has a little pulled muscle or something. All right, everyone. Hey, A. McG, Life's Revival. Hello, hello, and thank you. Little Miss Charmmaker, Louisa. Hey, hey, hey. Lisa, Driver. Hey, guys. John Bailey, Tracy, Pam Hall, Teresa, Dr. Rise, Linda Latina, hello. Charlene McMullen, Susan Lena, Blue Moon, Little Miss Charmmaker. What a cool name. This is her first chat. Welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. And we have Delicate Damsel, Still Pearl. Hey, Still Pearl. Jan, Bonnie. Hey, Bonnie. Lisa, Sarah, Karina, NC, Cheryl. You guys, thank you for being here. Sunny, Speculator. Okay, Candace, Sunny. Okay. All right, I'm just going to jump right in here. So I know that Still Pearl left me a comment, and I want to touch on that. So she said that she was looking for some advice on how to sort of deal while you're still in the relationship. So she's kind of stuck due to children and things like that. How do you cope? So obviously we've got your gray rock method. That's always a good way to go. And that is where you simply don't react emotionally to that person and you don't give them the reactions they expect. Now, I talked about this a lot in a video yesterday that I was working, that I posted. I talked a lot about the way to deal with them in the relationship if you are still in one, and that the gray rock thing is part of that. There's a lot more to it, of course, but I think the biggest thing is, go to queenbeing.com/plan, PLAN, and be working on your escape, even if you feel stuck right now. Sometimes just the idea of moving towards something like that can make a big difference. And I think other coping skills would involve self-care, doing what you need to do to take care of yourself in the process, because it's so easy for us to forget. I would say, dealing with them on a level of not, creating confrontation with them, but also not letting them walk all over you at the same time, if that makes any sense. It's a whole process, but like I said, check out that video from yesterday for that. And if you have any additional questions, Still Pearl, please let me know. Let's see, Blue Moon is here. Hello, hello. Jan, Lisa, everybody. Sarah, Dana, hello, hello. Dana Lee, not Dana Morningstar. Christina, hello. Christine Eckert, hello. Let's see. Hey, Jack Lumen. All right. Cheryl says she loves my site. Thank you. That's queenbeing.com for those of you who haven't seen it. It's full of resources, and I'm always looking to kind of grow it daily. We're working on that. So for anyone who is struggling with the email subscription situation right now, just a quick update on that. I switched over to one mail service because my previous one that I've been with for 10 years sort of just pooped out on me. It's a long story, and I'll explain it to you guys if you really want to know, but I don't think it's that interesting. Long story short, I found out after 10 years that the customer service is terrible. So I'm moving to another one. Well, I hastily jumped into one at the recommendation of someone, and it turned out to not be right for my business. So I'm also in the process of transitioning to a second one, but we'll get there. So hopefully the subscription issue will be put together and ready to go by next week for those of you who aren't getting your subscriptions sent. Let's see. Lisa says, just found out that my narcissist father has lung cancer, so another death loss coming on top. Oh, I'm so sorry, Lisa. Big hugs and love to you, everybody. Keep her in your thoughts and prayers. Charlene says, me too. He's a different type of narcissist. Did I miss something? Okay. All right. Hey, Marina, I'm happy to have a session this morning. I'm glad that you're here with us too. Thank you. Crystal Jean, hello, and says hello to Teacher Spring. Bonnie says, gray rock up your standards and only allow people who treat you with dignity and respect. All true. All true. Important things. Sam here. Hi, Sam. Valise. All right, let's see here. Teacher VIP kid. Teacher Spring VIP kid. How are you? Welcome back, my friend. I didn't mean to laugh. I was just giggling over my butchering of your screen name. I apologize for that. Linda Latina, what was the site you mentioned? Queenbeing.com. That's in the description here. It's QUEEN, queenbeing with two E's.com. Um, let's see here. Hi, Nikki Nicole. She's new. Welcome, welcome to the SPANily. And let's see. Now I just lost all my chat. Here we go. Okay. Jan says it's my house. It makes it kind of hard to leave. Oh, true that. Yeah, let me know your thoughts about how that's going with. Let me know. Sam, thank you so much. Tracy Williams, first time here. Welcome, welcome. Happy to have you. And let's see here. Anna, also first time for Anna. Hey, Anna, welcome, welcome. Lisa, Jackie Lumen says, yes, of course. Julie and I have a policy. Any prayed requests we will honor. Awesome. Prayer request. Nails is in the house. Hey, Nails. Andrea Elder says, I just learned that my narcissistic ex has been saying nasty things about my children, that he hates them. Okay. I assume they're not his children. If they are his children, I would document that and I would take it to the court. But I'm assuming they're not his children. And so if they're not his children, then my suggestion would be to stop listening to those things. This is a smear campaign, and you know your children. The people who love your children know your children. He's your ex. So my suggestion to you really is to recognize, consider the source. Obviously, he's not a valid source of anything. So, except for maybe negativity. So don't allow that to be in your sphere of influence. And just like I would tell anyone with any smear campaign, I would say, in my case, I would say, if you know me, you know I didn't do that. For your children, I would say, if you know my children, you know that that's a lie. They're not like that. And if people disagree with you, then maybe those people aren't your people. You know what I mean? Let me know your thoughts on that. Hey, Melinda, welcome, welcome for the first time to the stream. Happy to have you. Welcome, welcome to the SPANily. Let's see, where was I? There we go. Bonnie says I look great today. Thank you, Bonnie, because I was doubtful. I'm not really always doing the the off the shoulder thing. I feel kind of anxious about it. I don't think I have great shoulders. Anyway, but I appreciate that. All right, let's see here. Crystal welcomes all newbies. Thank you, my friend. And I'm with her on that. Welcome to all the newbies. Happy to have you guys. Let's see. Flower Child says, I just found out my mother is hospitalized and I went no contact 5 years ago. I'm feeling awkward feelings toward the situation. Oh, they lost me. Oh no. Am I not live anymore? Okay, I'm just going to assume I'm still live. Okay. Flower Child, I understand how you feel, and having gone no contact 5 years ago, you probably don't even really feel like you know her anymore. I would say this to you. If you feel the need to say goodbye or to have some sort of final communication, if that's what this is, then go do it. But understand that it's not going to be satisfying, and it's probably going to sort of trigger you and put you back into a negative place. Now, every now and then you'll get someone who is in a situation where they're not going to make it, and then suddenly they have these moments of clarity, and then maybe they'll apologize for everything they did their whole life. But I would say 99% of the time that doesn't happen with narcissists. You never know. But I guess my question, Flower Child, would be, do you think that that it will benefit you to go see her? Do you feel like you want to go see her, or do you just kind of need to let go of it? What are your feelings? Let me know. Let's see. Sarah says, my ex-narcissist just won't stop with the blame. And again, I'll say the same thing I said to, I can't recall the name of the person with the children situation. I would say, just don't react to it. Don't deal with it. We're talking about an ex here. So as far as blame goes, you just have to go with what you can, I think. Hey, Mr. Gigi, how are you? How's KC? Mr. Gigi lives in the same state as me. I just saw this big thing all over YouTube today, Mr. Gigi, about Kansas City. So I thought that was pretty cool. Oh, I'm back now. Oh, good. Okay. Flower Child. I hope you guys didn't miss too much. Flower Child, that's a toughie. Yeah, it is a toughie. It's a hard place to be. Yeah. Oh, we frozen. We didn't hear that. Okay. Okay. Let me know what let me know what you didn't hear. I'm just going to keep going because I'm not sure what I said and what I didn't. I'm not sure what part we froze out on. Sunny Palm says, I co-parent with a narcissist and he's very smooth, passive aggressive about it, trying to turn my son against me. Yeah, I get that. And co-parenting with a narcissist, it's more like parallel parenting, because you really can't co-do anything with a narcissist, if we're being honest. Parallel parenting, I think, is your best bet. And I think when it comes to, depending on the age of your children, certainly he's going to try to turn your son against you. Of course he is. And I think the best thing you can do is, number one, being that I think you're the female in the situation, because you're saying your son with a man. I assume this is Sunny that is a female. I would say that you have a couple of things going your way. Number one, boys tend to be closer to their mothers often and more forgiving of things people say about their mothers, as in more forgiving of their mothers. And secondly, your son knows who you are. And, if assuming you're his primary caregiver, or at least you're the joint custody situation, I would say most likely you won't have a problem, but I would say just be open and honest and upfront with your son as much as you can for his age, and stay in constant contact. Try not to rip on his father in front of him. Don't let him overhear you talking about him in a negative way. Try to keep that above board, because he will see the truth, without you even having to tell him in most cases. Not always. There are, as we know, many cases of parental alienation that happen. I would also consider going with your son to a therapist to help work through that with him. I know this, when my ex-husband wasn't seeing my son and I was a single mom, I went to a therapist because when he was 4, because he noticed that other kids at preschool had dads and he didn't. And this is right before we met my current husband. Now that child's 21. But the therapist at that time said to me, you should sit down with him and explain to him that his father, his biological father, has the right to see him and chooses not to. And I thought, why would I say that to my child? I asked him, why would I say that? Won't that mess with his head? And he said, no, it's the truth. And if you tell him that and you explain it to him in that way, and you explain that, he has some emotional problems that don't allow him to be part of your life, or that, he's chosen not to be part of your life because of these emotional problems. It's not your fault. It's his fault. Then he basically, what it came down to is he wouldn't end up blaming me for his father not being in his life. It wasn't my fault. You know what I mean? So, and I know it's not exactly the same situation for you, but if you take your child to a qualified therapist, somebody who's trauma informed, and the two of you work together to help yourself and your child, stay connected, I think that would be a big, huge thing. And I mean, ideally in a normal situation, I would say also involve your ex, but I wouldn't in this case. Unless you're telling me that if you guys are still living in the same house, then this is a whole other ball of wax. But I would definitely get a therapist involved just to make sure you and your child are on the same page. The relationship with the ex, or the soon-to-be ex, or whatever he is, it's not repairable. We know this, right? So, but your child is somebody that matters to you and always will. So that's my advice. Let me know your thoughts about that. Hello, Dunia. And Saint Asana is new. Welcome, welcome to the SPANily. Marcel in the house. Second time attending a live with the Queen. Thank you. I'm really just Angie. My site is called Queen Being because when I built it, I was in this process of recovery and I felt like I wanted to feel like a queen, kind of, but to myself, not to everybody else. And it's funny because it was originally just my personal blog, and that's why it doesn't have good search engine optimization value in the name. But it just kind of turned out that it worked out to where it became this. So it evolved. But thank you. I'm happy to have you. Hope in the house. Hello, hello. Welcome back, my friend. How are you? Sweet Pea Pink. Hello. Cute name. Hey, commented before, but first time for these. Commented before. But, well, welcome. I'm happy to have you. Morris says, Angie, daughter's dad still doesn't have overnight rights. Good. But bought her a bunk bed and now a tent for when she wants friends over. It's exhausting and confuses her. You see, Maura, that's just another example of how he is playing with that girl's head, like against without concern for his own, well, his own daughter. I mean, obviously concern for his own emotions, no concern for hers. And she's smarter than he's giving her credit for, which I think is why she's so frustrated. Moore's daughter's a little girl, and just what is she, 3 more, 4, 5? I can't remember. She's little though, and there's a good reason for that no overnight thing, and that would be frustrating. Maura, I'm so sorry. I would just tell your daughter the truth as much as she can handle at her age. We've talked about that. And I totally understand it's exhausting. I don't really know how many friends sleepover she's having at this age. But, maybe if she's got friends from preschool or daycare or whatever, maybe you could, arrange a play date or something. But again, I don't recall my kids really doing sleepovers until they were over 7 or 8. Or 9, depending on the kid. Some kids sooner, I guess, but yeah, that would be frustrating. Andrea says they aren't. And I can't recall I'm so sorry. I can't recall now I lost my place in the chat. I'm sorry. I'll scroll back up. All right, here we go. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little scattery today. Belle, where's Belle? Belle, I see the continued thing. Okay, I am still live. That's what I thought. Okay. Hello, Lynette. Welcome, welcome. Here we go. Okay, Kay Beach says, my husband's abuse turned physical with Grey Rock the last 6 months before I left. It's a dangerous time. Yeah, for sure. So here's the thing about Grey Rock. It's real. It works, but don't use it with a physical abuser. I really think that when the relationship gets to the point where there's physical abuse involved, then you have an emergency on your hands and you can't wait. And that's the only time that I would normally advise somebody to look into, to look into a shelter, or even to have that person arrested for domestic violence. Because if you have them arrested, it depends on where you live. Check your local laws, but often if you have them arrested, you can have them sort of required to stay away from the house you live in, or yourself, for a period of time, even if they own the house. So that would give you time to kind of gather up your things and decide what to do next. But Kay Beach is right. It can cause physical abuse in someone who is violent by nature. So be aware of that, and, and play your cards close to your chest, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But I never ever advise anyone to stay in a physically abusive situation. I mean, just think about all the people who have found themselves in the news. I'll just leave it at that, because of those people, because of those types of abusers. Emotional abuse is nearly as bad as physical abuse when it comes to, or worse in some ways, when it comes to damaging us emotionally, mentally, otherwise, even physically, because of the effects of long-term stress on our bodies and long-term, it's a whole thing, we're not going to go into it, long-term trauma. But when we're talking about someone who is also physically touching us, abusing us in negative ways, physical ways, we're in physical danger. You think about, Lacey Peterson. I don't even know I think that was just straight emotional abuse, but you think about anybody who's been in a relationship with a toxic person, I just saw a story today about somebody in a city, Florissant, Colorado. I get news alerts on Florissant, and it picked up this one because it was a different, my city is Florissant. Anyway, and this man had been physically abusive to his fiance, and then long story short, he put a blindfold on her to do a candle smelling test, and ultimately ended up doing something really terrible, and now she's gone. So, and apparently he was with a new person, and she was the reason that things turned out the way that they may have turned out. But she also called the police, and hopefully because of her, there will be some justice for this poor woman's situation. Andrea Elder said, I just recently got away from him. Good for you. Denise says, if my husband didn't speak for 8 months and now wants to make it work, is that hoovering? He isn't love bombing, but isn't being mean. Yeah, I would say that that's hoovering. Hoovering doesn't always mean love bombing. Sometimes it's being sometimes it's drama. Sometimes it's what this is where, well, let's make it work because maybe he realized it would be too expensive or something. I don't know. But I would say this, I wouldn't give anyone a chance who didn't speak to me for 8 months, especially if you were living in the same house for 8 months. That's insane. I mean, that must have been torture to you. I'm so sorry. So sorry. Andrea says they are wonderful kids. Okay. And I think, Andrea, you're going to have to just parallel parent. And as time goes on, if you just got away from him, he's still very angry. He probably hasn't moved on fully with someone else. So, what I would do is I would try to keep things businesslike. I would only discuss the children and only as needed. You know what I'm saying? And as often as possible, do it in writing, whether it's text or it's email, whatever it needs to be, just enough that you can kind of, that you can have it in writing and only about things that you need to discuss. Don't discuss things like, oh, I don't know, so-and-so, the kid wants to have a sleepover. Is that okay with you? Because hasn't lived with you, it's irrelevant. But you might want to discuss, like, I'm going to move the kid from this daycare to that daycare, or the kid has a medical diagnosis you need to know about, whatever, or here's the visitation schedule, things like that. And again, as often as possible in writing, no emotion, straight up, like business. Like, the only business you guys have together now is whatever legal stuff for the divorce and then the kids. That's it. And not the emotional part, just the business part. Do you understand what I mean? Let me know if that's helpful for you. Let's see. Jack Lumen says, good morning to everyone. And let's see. No, I'm still live. Okay. Sorry for that moment, people. See, I get way behind in the chat. This is the problem. Sam says, going to work. Okay, Sam, thank you. Santa says, going through divorce with my narcissist who has fled the country. Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry. That's difficult. I think if he's fled the country or she's fled the country, then you may actually have an easier time, but you'll have to wait longer. I think it depends on your state, but I think around here, it's like if they don't respond to the divorce within a certain amount of time, you have to like put an ad in the paper. I don't know if that's still, it's been a minute since I've been divorced. But you had to run an ad, and then if the ad, it was like, they didn't respond to it, or they didn't show up in court or whatever, then the divorce would be granted. So you still make it a divorce, even if this person did flee the country, if that's helpful. If you do have children with that person, you might want to be careful with having them, be careful and don't let them take your children out of the country if they do come back, because then it might be a lot harder to get them back, depending on the country. So, okay. Belle says, starting to wonder if my mom might be a narcissist. I've always wondered, please offer advice on how to deal. If I can't get there, I have to accept it, period. I'm sorry, but nothing I can do. Yeah, Belle, you're right. And I didn't see the first part. Maybe you posted it while I was out for a minute. Apparently the stream went out for a minute. Excuse me. But what I would say to you is, if I've dealt with that myself. And if she is a narcissist, the best thing to do is to first recognize that she is not, she's probably the voice in your head that tells you that you're not good enough all the time. And probably also the reason you ended up in a toxic relationship. And so you have to recognize her limitations, recognize who she is. And then you also have to give yourself a little space, and you have to is this where your mother's in the hospital? Is this what this is? I might have missed part of that, or I might be having a senior moment. I'm not a senior yet, but you never know. But I would say, Belle, that the best thing you can do is to forgive yourself for any negative stuff that's in your own head. Love yourself, take care of yourself in a way that she never did or couldn't or wasn't, capable of doing. And don't expect any sort of, she is what she is. I mean, and I've done videos on this before, and if you want, I can do another one. But I certainly don't, I certainly don't think that, you have to accept it. She has to accept it. There's nothing you can do. Right. I'm really sorry. Let me know if you have additional questions. I feel like I missed part of your question, and I'm sorry if I did. Speculator says, question, my only child, age 42, is a flying monkey. How should I tell her that I can't share personal information with her? Well, I just wouldn't. Like if she says, like, let's say, what's your bank account balance, mom? I would say, I don't think that's any of your business. If she says, whatever the question, the personal information that she's going to use against you or that they're going to use against you, whatever that is, she's 42 years old. She should know better. My guess is maybe it has to do with your soon-to-be ex or your ex. So I would keep everything close to the vest. And I would say, even go so far as to say, my lawyer advised me not to talk about that. And then she'll probably say, but mom, it's me, you can tell me. And you'll say, well, evidence proves that I can't, because in the past I told you X, Y, Z, and this came back and bit me in the butt. And you're the only person I told. Or I would just change the subject. It depends on how much you think she's capable of handling. Is she a willing flying monkey or not? Is she an unwitting flying monkey that someone's pulling the information out of? I guess I need a little more information. Let me know if you have any to add. I will tell you guys I'm running a little short on time today because I have another meeting starting in 20 minutes, but I did want to pop in and say hello to you. So what I'll do is after the meeting, I'll come back and check the chat. So if there's any additional questions or anything, I'm hopefully going to be recording this afternoon or this weekend for next week. So if you have questions that you want me to make a video on, we can do that. Jack, I appreciate you, but I want to be careful. I want everyone to be careful with, I don't recommend private messaging people here or in SPAN. In fact, in the SPAN group, we sort of really discourage that because you don't want anyone to accuse you of anything. And you certainly don't want to be in a situation to be uncomfortable or anything. So I'm sure you are all amazing people, but you never know what could happen. So I want to encourage you to either talk inside the SPAN group or to just be careful and know that I can't do anything if you're private messaging. I can't keep you safe that way. So take it for what it is. Raphael says, hello, first live stream. Thank you for your time and videos. My pleasure. And thank you so much. Welcome to the SPANily. Happy to have you. I don't know what Charlene said because she deleted her message, so I can't, but Courtney said it's the same. So I don't know what to say. Flower Child says, I don't want to see her, the mother in the hospital. Okay. She's been horrible to me for 58 years. I know there's no goodness in seeing her. My dilemma is all the other family members who are there for her, and I don't want to be. I get that. So let's say this. I know that people are going to think bad things about me when that time comes as well, because I also won't be there for this person in my life. And I'll tell you what, you just have to get to the point where you can't let it bother you, because the people who are there, they're not recognizing like the truth about her. Do you understand what I mean? They don't really apparently understand who she is fully. And you are probably one of very few people who does as her daughter. I think that what I would do is I would just tell them my mother and I don't have a relationship and leave it at that, and if you want to be there for them as they're there for her, then that's up to you. But I guess I would say if you're in contact with all of those other people, they should understand, what you've gone through. And if they don't understand, that's fine. But you don't have to let them make you feel bad for something that isn't your fault. It's not your fault she treated you that way. It's not. And if they, I guess your question is, you don't want to be there, but they want to be there. Can you let me know if there's more to that? Because I know it's difficult sometimes to tell people things like this, but you don't have to go into details. You can just say, my mother and I don't really have a relationship, and leave it at that. They should know this by now, and they should maybe even understand why. But if they don't, okay, you have to, it's difficult. It's hard as an empath. It's hard to, be able to explain things to people in a way that they can kind of understand, but it's definitely worth your sanity to not see her and not be around her and them if they are her flying monkeys. So, the realist says, it's so hard when it's a parent or a close relative. It truly, truly is. That's the thing that makes it so difficult, because, when you're in that situation, and the truth is, I bet you, of everyone here, 113 people right now watching, I bet you that 80% of us have either a narcissist parent or caregiver from our childhood, or we were very young when we got with our narcissist, if we don't have any toxicity from our childhood or some other kind of trauma. But the thing is, we almost always come out of a traumatic situation when we are yoked to a narcissist. Almost always. Not always. Every now and then I'll run across someone who had a pretty healthy childhood and they just kind of were thrown for a loop by it. But even those who think they had a healthy childhood often can look back and go, now that I think about it, there was this situation. And not, it doesn't have to be like a physical abuse situation necessarily to be unhealthy. And I think that throws a lot of people off. So I feel you. It is difficult. Raphael, first time live stream. Thank you. I'm happy to have you. I already told you that. Sorry, I got distracted. Somebody says, hi, how do you get over feeling bad for completely disconnecting from narcissistic family members? You know what? It's not super easy, right? It's not like something that goes, you don't get over it overnight, but you have to decide to yourself, is what these people think of me more important? Is how these people feel more important than my own sanity and safety? Because ultimately, narcissistic abuse, it physically affects you whether they hate you or not. You get, when you have CPTSD, I mean, there's a shockingly large number of survivors who have things like fibromyalgia, chronic pain, all of these other things. And these are real disorders and diseases. But what happens is that when your brain starts firing wrong because of all of the, I'm just saying this in some serious layman's terms here, but basically the physical effects of stress cause things like all these other things, at heart disease, obesity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all of these things are connected. Our physical, mental health, it's all connected. So something to think about. How do you get bad? How do you get over feeling bad? You have to work on it. You have to work on yourself. You have to work on what you understand, what you know to be true, your perception, and you have to find things that you love in the world that you can, focus your energy on. Instead of focusing on feeling bad, focus on how much lighter you feel now that you're not dealing with those people, and then start to focus on, well, now what can I do with all this free time? Don't use it to worry or stress yourself. Find something that you love to do, even if it's like knitting or roller skating. It doesn't matter. Something that makes you feel good about yourself, or that it just makes you feel good, period. Whatever that is. Something that's hopefully healthy and not bad for your body. But yeah. Okay. I know. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place today, guys. I'm running low on time and trying to answer as many questions as I can. Belle says, Crystal says to Belle, I knew my youngest sister was overly paranoid and toxic, but I'm thinking she's on the narc spectrum and my mom enables her behaviors. Oh, that's pretty common. Pretty common, especially if your mom or her husband would be a narcissist, or your father, because obviously she would have some kind of ongoing situation with that. Okay. Andrea says, mine tried really hard to turn my oldest against me, tried convincing him I'm crazy. Yeah, see, that happens. That happens all the time. It's really difficult. And it would be easy for us to pull the same game, if you think about it, and to point out their behaviors and to, make our kids turn against them. But I have found that what's more effective is letting our kids make their own decisions on that, because when they see how the other parent acts, as they get older, they do make their own decisions. It's very difficult when they try to alienate our children from us. It's almost devastating, right? But those who have succeeded, I've seen it in a few cases, and I've had mothers and fathers crying on the phone with coaching sessions because they're just so devastated that this happened. But when they're adults, then what I recommend is, send them a birthday card, send them a holiday card twice a year, and tell them, I love you. I'm here for you whenever you need me. No matter what anyone says. Here's my phone number. Here's my contact information. Marry, happy, whatever. End it, and do that twice a year. And that sounds so painful and difficult, but you cannot torture yourself when we're talking about adult children. And when we're talking about children under the age of 18 or whatever, then there are legal things you can do. And again, I would seriously recommend going to a qualified therapist with your child together to work on that relationship. And the therapist can very often be that objective third party that is able to say to that child, listen, your mom's not the crazy one, or your dad's not the crazy one, whoever, whichever parent you happen to be. Any parent who really, wants to do that shows their child, number one, I value you and I value my relationship with you. And number two, I care how you feel. I care what you think, and live that way. Show them that. I mean, don't let them walk all over you, but show them that you care. Because I remember one of the worst things about being a child of a narcissist is invalidation, constant invalidation, lack of validation, lack of awareness about who I even was as a person. And that continued on throughout my life. It was very clear to me. And I can go into a lot about this, but I'm not here to talk about me. So, but parental alienation is very real. But at some point, many children or adult children, they recognize what happened. Sometimes it takes them like 40 years. And that's the hard part. But what I can tell you is the wrong thing to do is to just fall off the planet and wait for them to call you, because that took 40 years. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Jack says to Flower Child, I am younger. I'm probably the age of your kids, but I empathize and relate to your situation. Maternal grandmother and mother, narcissists. I get it. Yep. Morris says, parallel parenting is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Girl, that is so accurate and true. It's difficult for see, I was lucky with my ex-husband because he just fell off the planet. He didn't even try to be a parent once he realized I wasn't coming back. And that sucked, but it was also good in a way, because then my kid had to deal with abandonment issues, but not issues of constant invalidation. There was one main invalidation. Although when he was 18, he tried to reach out to him and did reach him on the phone, and was basically told all the good things. Yes, let's have a relationship. Let's get together. Let's have a life. He never followed through with any of it. So it is what it is. His loss. That's how I see it. Okay. AT says, I got out of the grips of the narcissist, but I feel bad that his family and the kid are stuck in it. The damage he's done can't even be calculated. Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. And I think in your case, AT, if it's your kid, then of course, I think you need to deal with it. And this is going to sound like harsh and unfair, but if it's his kid, I would do whatever you can to help the family understand what the kid's dealing with, but I would not do anything else if that's not your child, legally or otherwise. If you gave birth to the child or you adopted the child legally, then that's a different ball of wax. But let me know what the deal is with that. And I apologize if I forgot a little bit of your situation. But I know, I assume it's his family because you said his family and kid. It sucks for them. It does, but you can't, unless there's something that you can report legally, there's just not a lot you can do about it. Now, if you know that they're physically being abused by him, or he's stealing from them, or he's stolen their identities or anything like that, then there are things you can report. But outside of that, you have to let go of it, and you have to move on and take care of yourself. And I know that sounds kind of harsh, especially because there are times where you've been married to somebody for 20 years and you love that kid their whole life, but it doesn't, you can only affect what you can. I always say, focus on what you can change, not what you can't. What you can control, not what you can't. Because those things we can't control, us stressing and worrying about those things is only adding additional an undue tax to our bodies, to our minds. We've already been through enough. We have to treat ourselves with love and compassion and respect and physical care and emotional care. And one way that you can stop beating yourself up emotionally is to stop focusing on something you have no control of. I hope that's helpful. I know it sounds harsh, but I don't mean to. I'm just being real. You have to put yourself first. on some level. Like when you're on an airplane and you have a little baby sitting next to you, and the stewardess is like, "Girl, put your mask on before you put the baby's mask on." Your first instinct is to be like, "Are you crazy?" But in reality, if you pass out, you can't put the mask on your baby either. You know what I mean? So, and I know that's a funny analogy or a silly one, but you get the point, I think. Um, okay. Belle and Jack, so I see that you two are already friends, so I will retract my comment from earlier. But still, I recommend for most people who don't know each other well to kind of keep it, to kind of be careful with that. All right. Um, let's see here. What is happening right now? I guess we don't know that we're okay. All right. Anywho, so I've just got a couple more minutes. I'm gonna scroll. Oh, Mandy Walker says, I'm feeling down today. My attorney is a narcissist and trying to divorce my ex narcissist. Now I have a $13,000 attorney bill, and now my ex gets unsupervised visits when he only met my 8-month-old twice. Oh my gosh. Okay. Mandy, I absolutely feel your pain on this one. This is horrible. And I would just want to, I don't even know. I remember when my children were babies, and the idea of them being away from me for just even a few hours sometimes was difficult. And the idea of them being with a narcissist that I can't see them, I can't lay my eyes on them, was even worse. Unsupervised visits. So, can you report your attorney to the board? What, was he working with your ex or something? I mean, how are they going to charge you $13,000 and now your ex gets unsupervised visits? I mean, I guess the court doesn't see that your husband or your ex was a narcissist, so they aren't going to know that because in a normal healthy situation with a normal healthy father, then it would make sense for the father to see the child unsupervised even at 8 months, even though that would still be hard for any mother, especially if the baby's not on a bottle. With all of that being said, um, the best thing you can do, I assume this person isn't violent. The best thing you can do is provide everything this person needs and say, listen, if you need to call me in the middle of the night because the baby won't stop crying, just whatever you need, I'll be there. And that's difficult. But when they're only 8 months old, it's so hard to walk away. It's so hard to walk away. But if you feel like, the child will be physically safe with him, then I would, instead of stressing out during the time that the child is gone, I would do something for yourself. I mean, when's the last time you did anything without a baby? You know what I mean? Have you gone like to the grocery store alone? Have you gone to the bathroom alone? I mean, 8 months old, they can't really walk around that much yet. But I mean, my oldest started walking at 9 months. That's so hard to walk away. Yeah, so difficult. Mandy, I feel your pain. But let me say this. My suggestion is, if you're not worried about your child's physical safety, and they can't really emotionally abuse a child too much at this age, as long as they're taking care of their basic physical needs during a short visit. Um, you can, the court can make them take a parenting class. That's maybe a possibility. But as long as you're not worried about your child's physical safety, then I would make a plan for yourself to do something with your friends, or go shopping, buy yourself a new outfit, go get a massage, anything that you can think of to make it all about you for that time that he's not, that he's got the baby. And if it's like an overnight thing, I would still stay close to home just in case something does happen. But, they need you to come or whatever, I would stay sober at least the first few times that the baby stays there, in case you need to go get the baby in the middle of the night or something. But I would certainly do something with your friends or something with yourself that is about you, not about the baby. Because I know one thing that's hard about being a mom is when the baby is, I think until each of my kids was like 3, every moment of every day felt like it was about my kids. And then when they were each 3, then I could start to breathe a little bit. By the time they were 5, they were learning how to make sandwiches. It was golden, but it goes so fast. It goes so fast. Anyway, um, let's see. Ahab. Okay. Clausa says, my dad is a narcissist and my mother copies his behavior and enables him. Do narcissists know they are narcissists? This is a great question. They don't label themselves as narcissists, and 99% of the time they don't go to therapy willingly, or to a psychologist or psychiatrist willingly. Those who have been diagnosed usually are diagnosed because they've committed a crime, and they're required to go to therapy by the court, or because somebody tried to leave them and they begged for therapy and then were diagnosed. Those are pretty much the only two cases where people actually get diagnosed. Do they know they're narcissists? If you ask them if they're a narcissist, they might say, oh, yes, I'm a narcissist, but they don't know what that means the way that we do. They don't know about NPD. They don't know. I mean, really, I think the biggest shared quality between all narcissists is the marked lack of empathy. Your mom sounds like she may have narcissistic fleas. I've done a video on that before, but what it comes down to is picking up bad behaviors. The enabling probably comes from her attempting to have some sort of semblance of a relationship with him, and maybe a confused understanding of what's healthy, because in a healthy parent relationship, each parent would be on the same page, and so they would support each other in their choices. Even if they didn't fully agree, they would kind of present a united front to the children, and then they would talk about it behind closed doors so the children see a united front with the parents. In this situation, though, she's maybe not recognizing what she's dealing with, and maybe she's being a little too harsh and a little too enabling because she's trying to protect herself as well. I don't know if that's, I guess I would ask you if that sounds like it resonates with you, and if it does, then I could try to offer some additional help. However, at the moment, I'm running out of time. I'm going to answer one more question, and then I'm going to have to wrap up. But I want to make sure I hit this one from A. McG, our new member. When I was a younger person before I was married, I was AMC, AMIC. Anyway, okay. A. McG says, I've been parallel parenting for 10 years. I will always try to be the person he blames. I will always be the person he blames for everything. I try to do gray rock as much as possible and let time show people as he runs his mouth to the truth. Yeah, and you know what? I think that's exactly what you have to do. Certainly, he'll run his mouth. But like you said, the proof is in the pudding. And very often, narcissists tell on themselves. Very often, they make it really clear who they are. And as your kids get older, you're parallel parenting for 10 years, so you must have at least at the very, one of your kids must be at least 10, right? So I think it's clear that it's never going to be easy, whether you're parallel parenting or the person fell off the planet or the person is trying to control every freaking move that you're making with your kid. It's never going to be easy to deal with a narcissist. But the best thing you can do is keep it all business all the time. Don't respond to the smear campaigns, as A. McG says, and stay focused on, again, what you can control, not what you can't. If you're hit with a smear campaign and people that you think should, that you know and love and trust are coming at you and blame you for something that you know isn't true, you do the thing. You say, look, you know me, I didn't do that. I wouldn't do that. And then if they say, but I think you did it, what do you say? You say, well, gosh, I really thought you knew me better than that. I'm really sorry to hear that you don't. And then you step back 3 steps mentally and physically if necessary. And then you reevaluate after the thing blows over. And I would guess that one of 2 things will happen. Either that person will straight up apologize to you for being wrong, or that person will have already been a flying monkey all along, and then you'll know better and you'll decide if you want to keep a flying monkey in your life. Does that make sense? Let me know your thoughts. All right, guys, I really do have to rush out of here, and I'm so sorry. But like I said, do keep, feel free to keep commenting here in the live stream comments. There will be, I'll come back, and I think YouTube will give you like 20 minutes to do that. I've got to jump into another meeting, but I will be back to look at those comments after that meeting, and I'll either be recording videos today or hopefully this weekend. So if you do have video requests, feel free to put them here or put them on my community tab on my channel or in a video comment. I try to catch as many as I can. So that's what I got to say. I'm sorry for my all over the place today. Oh, VIP kid, I just want to say this. Oh, she had a dream about him last week, and he moved on after 3 months. Hey, VIP kid, forgive me if I'm wrong, but are you also Kit Kat? Or am I mixing that up? All right. Guys, I got to rush off. Andrea, I'm so glad that I was able to help you realize the situation. Thank you so much. Yep. Okay. I got to run. I'm sorry, guys. I want to keep talking. Hey, Lisa, Sarah, Belle, big hugs and love to everybody. Like I said, I'll be back. I'll talk to y'all soon. And thanks for being patient with me this morning. Have a lovely weekend. Yes, Bonnie, I think you are absolutely right, my friend. Okay. Headed out. All right, Truth Seeker, big hugs to you, my friend. Life Survival, thank you. Claza, thank you. Yes, I do Skype or phone. You can look at queenbeing.com for information on that. OG Woot, big hugs and love to you, my friend. All right. Crystal Jean, big hugs. Nope. Okay, that's right. I'm sorry, my bad. I didn't mean to get those two things mixed up. Teacher, sorry about that. Psychic. Hello. Oh, yikes. All right, I really have to go. I'm sorry, guys. Yes, Bonnie, yes. Okay, bye, Narnia. Thank you. I can't even remember how to log out. It's been so long since I've been live by myself. That's a problem. Okay, yes, Lisa, you're right. Psychic should get out at this time of that situation if that is an abusive physically situation. Okay, all right, headed out. End meeting. Okay, I got it. Now I'm really leaving. Bye.